just check to be sure. Yes, indeed, YouTube says that we are in fact streaming. Okay, YouTube says we are online, we are live. Okay, welcome everybody to the first episode of the Code Explorer. This is a new series that I'm going to start from now on. In this series, I'm going to give YouTube a whole new direction into learning how to code, learning how to code in a new programming language. And I'm going to do this by introducing a whole new concept that I've made some conclusions in the past, that if you want to learn a whole new way of programming in a language, that the best way to do this is one way to do this is just go to some lessons and get some professional lessons from a professional teacher. Or the other way to do it, and in my opinion is the best way to do it, is just start with it, go on the web, go search for some things you want to make and you want to use, and just go on with it, try to make some cool projects, run into some problems and try to fix them by yourself, and this way, in my opinion, you learn the best how to do things the right way and how to solve problems in the future, just because you know how you solved them in the past. So based on that experience in the past, I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to launch a whole new series, the Code Explorer, where you can watch me learn an entire new programming language. Based on that, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself in the first place. So my name is Cedric. I live in Belgium, and I am a developer. I develop for a living, and based on my experience in the past, I thought I would give a whole new series on this YouTube channel. So the first day, the first video I'm going to publish and I'm going to stream to you right now is a video on how to begin with PHP. So PHP, as a developer myself, I have no professional experience in PHP. I've heard, I know a few theoretical things about PHP, but that's all. I know some theoretical things. I know it's a language that runs on the server. It's very popular for using it as an API, and it's used in the whole wide world for various number of reasons. And I thought that PHP might be something good to learn for future purposes, not only for my job but also just for my personal interests. And thus I'm going to teach you guys PHP by simply teaching myself and running into problems, searching for solutions for certain problems, and just trying to make some cool stuff. We're going to start with with the basics, and we're going to go on, and each time I'm going to stream what I want to learn that day. I'm going to set the new level for difficulty for things to make, but that will be dependent on each episode, of course. Another side note before we finally start, is that as I said, I live in Belgium. English is not my my language by nature, not my mother language. So it is possible, I'm a human being after all, it is possible that I'm having some grammatical errors, or sometimes I might not find the right words to say something, but that's okay. It's a live stream after all, and we're just here to learn how to code, and that's the most important thing. And I hope that you guys will learn something from this. And I would say let's start with it. Let's just start with what we need to do before we're going to program in PHP. So PHP, like many other languages to program in, needs an IDE to program. You need something to develop your code. So we are going to use NetBeans IDE. I have it already installed in here. But if you want to go install the NetBeans, you can just Google it for NetBeans. And there you go, the first result. And you just go to download. And for these videos, we're just going to be needing the PHP packages from NetBeans. If you really want to be safe for the future, in case we are also going to see Java or C and C++, it is possible for you to download the whole package, but for now we only just need the PHP version, and that's also the one that I have installed on my PC. I don't have the version with all of the packages installed. I just have the PHP. So so go ahead and do that. You can also use your preferred IDE if you have money to buy a PHP Storm, which is a very good IDE to develop PHP in, but I don't have that kind of budget right now. You can go ahead and buy it. You can also develop in Sublime Text. I have it also installed, but in my personal opinion, I think Sublime Text is very good for some basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But for real PHP, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that it's going to lack some extra functionalities. So we're going to keep it with NetBeans. I've used NetBeans in the past, and I really think it's a very good IDE. So we're going to use that one. Go ahead and start NetBeans. Once it starts, of course you have to first install it, but that's up to you. When you start, we're going to make an entire new project. We're just going to make the project. I'm going to talk into how PHP works and how we're going to run it. Later on we're going to search it, so because technically I do not have any experience with PHP, so of course I've already installed NetBeans and I've already looked into how we need to make an application, but so we're going to make a new PHP application just by clicking the new projects. We're going to name it first lines, because these are of course our first lines of code. You already see here MAMP, because that's the little bit theoretical knowledge I already told you about. I already know that PHP, if you want to develop PHP locally, you need some kind of server to run it on. You need a server that can run PHP, that has PHP installed, and on a Mac it's called MAMP. I also already have it installed, so I searched for it, and you can just download MAMP by just googling it. If you go to MAMP, you come to the right page and you can just download it and install it. It's no real big deal to install these packages. On a Windows machine, you're not going to search. You're not going to go to search for MAMP, but you're going to search for XAMPP. It's like MAMP but with an X as the first letter. That's the Windows version, and it does practically the same. You can run your PHP on it. You can run some basic HTML files. You can execute JavaScript on it. You can also host a small database, a MySQL database on it. So that's basically the functionality of MAMP. I know this from my personal experience. As I said, I am a developer, and I know this. So that's not a first experience for me in this series. But yes, we're going to use this, and I already have it set up. If you do not have it set up yet, pause the video and come back when you have set up. So the PHP project, we're going to publish the PHP project to the MAMP file. So when you install MAMP, you get a file in your drive called htdocs. So as on a Mac, if you go to htdocs, if you go to your MAMP in htdocs, and everything you put in here you can access by going to your local host. You can see, as you can see, I already have some small projects here. So this is basically the place you want to store your project if you want to develop on it locally. So once it's finished, you can publish it to a server. But for now, we're going to use MAMP on it. So htdocs, this is the place you can just go to it and test all your application / first lines. Now we are going to use a very somewhat more structured way for storing our applications. So basically every project we're going to make, we're going to store it in the folder learning PHP. So learning PHP and then the project named first lines. And we're going to go to next. Run as local website, but yeah, we're not going to use the local website. We're not going to run it in NetBeans, but we're going to run it in MAMP or XAMPP for Windows. So that's the way we're going to do it. Just click next. You can't really do anything wrong with this. The first time you need to as you see these things you should uncheck them, every one of them, because these are all web frameworks that you can use if you want to develop in PHP. But you need, for example, if you want some web application and in your work or a private project, you might want to use some project, but right now we're not going to use it since we're just going to learn the basics of PHP. So just click next and click finish. And normally NetBeans should take care of the necessary folders for you. And our first project, PHP project, first line is made. So basically we're going to simply search for Google basic PHP, basic PHP code, just because we're starting from scratch. And remember, we do not know what we are looking for, how we need to make our first project, and we're just going to look at some syntax. So basically PHP starts with this, so less than question mark PHP, and then everything that you code goes in there, and then basically you close the PHP tags, and that's it. As I can see here, you can perfectly combine it with some HTML. So basically, you can actually, if you develop something, apparently you can just throw some PHP code in it and make some variables appear in your page. So I guess that's what we are going to do first. We're going to make a simple PHP file. Okay, simple PHP file. We're going to name it index, since it's the index of our so-called web application. Index. Voila, just let it go. Yes, I hope you guys can see the code very well. At this moment there's only one viewer, and I don't really know if he can read everything fine of code, if he can see everything okay. But yeah, we're going to leave that to the viewers, and I'm going to give them the ability to give me some feedback. So yeah, our first PHP file, to change it, this is just some notes for the one who makes it. We're going to just delete that and start with a complete clear PHP file. So what do I want to do first? I believe I just want to prompt a small message just to make sure that my PHP runs and that that I can access the pages. So we're just going to PHP show text message. show text, the echo function. Write some text to the output, just use echo. So we're just going to use that, echo, hello world. And we're going to close our brackets, because I believe this has to be done this way. So our MAM server, right now it's not running yet, but we have the right files inside our htdocs learning PHP, because we set it up, we set the right source up, and we have our index.php file, excuse me. So we're going to say to our MAM server, okay guy, dude, start the service. Just give him a small moment, give him the right permissions to start everything. So I guess everything is started right now, and we're just going to go to localhost, to the index of localhost. Alright, we already see our folders, learning PHP, and there you have it. It automatically goes to the index file, and it just shows us a plain message, a hello world. And just to make sure, I'm just going to change this one and just refresh the page, and yes, it does. Hello PHP. Our PHP works, and we get the echo message to our browser. So the next thing, what are we going to do? Just to learn the basic PHP. So as a developer, I know some programming methodologies, just such as object oriented, but right now we're not going to do that yet, because I believe for PHP we're going to start with some real basic things. So for now, this lesson, in case in particular, we're going to exclude the object oriented, and we're just going to make a real small cool application. So what are we going to do? So our first little project that we're going to make in our first lines here, we want to have a certain form where we can input our name, and when we push the button, we take that name, we take it to the next page, and then I want to just display that name, just to master the basic PHP functions, and just to get on with it, to know how to do it. So we're just going to Google basic PHP code. Your first PHP enabled page. Let's just scroll over it. At the echo, we already did that. So, and here you see that you can just use some HTML. I believe I'm going to zoom into the web page a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier for you to read what I read. Okay. So that's also, apparently you can enter a new line using this one in your echo. But that's not really the thing we want right now. So PHP send text to another page. Next page. Pass variables. Okay, that's what we want to know, because that's also one thing I didn't tell you. Because the last thing I know about PHP is that PHP is actually just a PHP script is just a script that is on your server. It's just locally on your server, and when you navigate to that script, you're just going to execute it, and once it's executed, it's done. It's not like JavaScript that you can keep doing things on runtime with it. No, once it's executed, there is a certain functionality that is inside your web page, but you cannot do anything besides that with it. So basically what we want to do is we want to have some sort of a form in HTML, which we are going to send to a next page. So, and here, this is the way to appear. Apparently this is the way to make a variable, so that's what we are going to do. We're just going to make a small variable, so test, yes, I guess we are doing it right, yes. Test is how are you doing, and we're going to just echo that variable. I hope that I did it the right way. It already gives some sort of error string instance of. We're just going to let it execute. Let's see how it does. Oh, I already deleted it. Localhost. Okay. We get a server error. Okay. Can we perhaps see it? It may be down. No, it's correctly configured. But what are we? Echo string expected instance of. Okay, so we made a variable like the guy did in here. But the variable won't just echo. PHP echo variable. Echo manual. Once again, void echo string args. Echo this, yes, indeed. Foo, echo. Oh, so basically you have to do it like this. You can make a variable, but you have to insert it into the echo. Oh, and also, as a technically as a developer, I should be killing myself right now because I forgot this guy. In the programming languages that I also develop, I also need to use these. I don't know how to say it in English. Dot comma? No. So let's start with setting this one right. Oh, okay. And that means automatically makes the error go away. So let's just save it and reload it. Okay, there we go. Lesson 1 learned, always use dot comma. Or how you even say it, I don't know English. Let's just Google it. Dot comma, English. Periods, comma, period. Period, comma. Don't care. You guys will understand when I say dot comma. So from now on, dot comma is this little sign in here. Okay, so lesson number 1, always use dot comma when you do something in PHP. I guess that's a little bit my bad because I also in my spare time I also do some little bit Swift, and perhaps in the future I will teach you guys a little bit about Swift. And in Swift you don't have to use the dot comma, but yeah, here you certainly need to do. So okay, we made our first variable and we made it echo. So how about we make a simple HTML file and we set the test variable as an header. Okay, so let's go ahead. HTML. Okay, there's HTML tags. Okay, let's go. Body tag. Body tag with just an H1 inside of it. Okay, so once we are in the H1, how are we going to output the test variable inside it? Okay, so we're going to search it. PHP output var in HTML. Okay. Another way to PHP echo. Okay, that's just exactly what I'm searching for. There's a short tag version of your code. Oh, cool. That's very cool. But how does it know which variable it needs to take? We're just going to try it. Okay, so H1, and we're going to copy this one. Just because we're lazy. Developer means you're lazy. Test. Okay. And I think that oh, you need to have this one. Okay. I believe that we have to put this one in front of the HTML, just so that the PHP file already made the test variable. We're going to remove the echo just to make sure. The test variable, and then it's going to use it in here. So let's just try it. Okay. How are you doing? Let's inspect this element real quick. And yes, indeed, it is shown in the H1 and the header one. So good so far. But I also believe that you can do it like this. Let's see. If I'm wrong, it's okay. Oh, cool. Okay. I guess that runs as well. So it's perfectly natural to actually have PHP inside your HTML, and apparently it will just execute fine in there. But I believe, because in my experience I've had some theoretical experience with scoping, and I think that if we put an H2 in here and we are going to try to reach for the test variable, we're not going to be able to output it. So let's just try save the file, and oh, we can. Okay, now that's a cool one. So basically, if we are in the PHP tags and we make a variable in this one inside, I believe it's a scope, but I'm going to search for it in a minute. How do scopes work? Basically, you can use it everywhere. So I believe that every variable you made, you must be unique. So you cannot make a second variable. Let's just see how this one works. If you like override it, which one? How is today? So let's just play with these variables a little bit. And this one, what's up? And let's save this. So how are you doing and how is today? Okay, so apparently everything in the PHP file is globally. So if you make something here, you can perfectly use it. So if I type echo test, but perhaps this might, okay. So if I type echo test, he's gonna say an echo of what's up, and then in the header 1 and header 2, he's going to output the variable that I just have changed in the PHP. So that's pretty cool. So basically everything is globally, and you can change it on the run without having to reach it inside another scope or something. That's really cool. So the next thing we want to do is perhaps we just want to display something inside a certain HTML field in another page. I know it's perhaps it's a little bit a big leap, but I believe that in the future we are going to need that one a lot. Let's just Google how we get something from an input element. So PHP get value from input field without submit. Oh, can you do it without submitting? Get value from form without submitting it. Okay, so he has some form in here with name. Yes. Okay. So apparently he does echo something inside the option in here. with a value. So the answers: if you don't want to submit your form, you can do it using Ajax or jQuery. Ooh, but right now we're not going to use Ajax or jQuery yet, because that's something entirely different from PHP. It is something you can use in your web page, but it's something entirely different. And perhaps if we want to use jQuery, I might make some videos about it. But right now we're not going to use it yet, because this is something entirely different from PHP. You can also use it to get some functionality into your web page, but we're not going to do it yet. So basically, yeah, this next guy also says jQuery. So we're not going to be able to do it without submitting. So we're going to delete that in our okay. How to get input field value using PHP. Okay, so this guy in here has an input with a type of text, with the name subject and an ID subject. Okay, also something I forgot to mention is I hope that you guys have somewhat knowledge of HTML. I know it's a bit late to it's a bit late to mention this one, but without somewhat knowledge of HTML, one cannot, or one the development in PHP will become much more difficult, because PHP is being used, as you can see here, is being used in combination with the HTML. So PHP on its own does exist, and a lot of project PHP is being used to simply just make the backend. So if you go to a certain URL, for example, get all customers with a certain age, or with a certain amount of something with some parameters, then PHP can be used to write a backend to go to the database to execute some queries, to set it in the right format, and to return it to the person who made the GET request. But right now, I'm not going to teach you HTML. I assume you know some HTML. Perhaps if you want to, I can teach you some, but that would be in another video. So right now we're going to focus on the PHP. So this guy, to come back to this post, to this webpage, this guy has an input field, and he wants to get the value inside the input field. So the solution to this: use PHP's post or get superglobals to retrieve the value in PHP tag. For example, the method in your form, and then echo out value using get. Okay, so basically we're going to have to post our form, or just do a get method, is also possible, but we're going to use a post, because so the difference between a get and a post request, just for learning purposes, versus post request. Okay, just for learning purposes, we're going to search this one. HTTP message get versus post. What is HTTP? Yeah, we don't want to know that. Get requests data from a specified source. So as I said, PHP can be used to get some data. So most of the time when you have a PHP backend, you are going to use a get request to get some data from the backend API. And a post is to submit some data to be processed to a specified resource. So basically what we are going to search, what we are searching for, is a post request. We're going to use a post request to post a string value or a name in our case to a next page. So that's the thing we want to do right now. So in the body we're going to set this one all in comments. Oh, so basically if you combine HTML with PHP, can Can I do this? No. Oops, that wasn't. Okay, I'm just going to delete it all, just to be sure. So in the body, we're just going to I have this input field. That's just an input field. We're going to make a form. And just for learning purposes, I'm going to search for HTML form post submit example. Just for you guys to make sure if there are any people in there that are not really familiar with HTML forms. This can be a really easy way to know. That's not what we're looking for. And here that's just for the input type. Action, so okay, so this basically is what we're going to need. Action, and then the method also. So a form is made up like this with an action. So basically, if we're going to submit our input field, so our form, then it's going to go to this page, so action page.php. But we're not going to use that name. We're just going to do name.php. In a little bit time, we're going to make the PHP file name, but right now we're just going to finish our form. The method, so basically a form also needs a method to make sure that it is a post or a get. So I believe it's been a while since I manually made a form. So I believe it's just like this, and it just is enough to make it. Oh yes, indeed. So like this, it also says that it's just like this. Okay. So basically, what are we going to do? We're going to make an input field of type text. Once again, I'm not going to teach you the ways of HTML. So I believe it's this way. Not entirely sure. Type text. Okay. So we're going to give our input field a name, and the name is just nickname. Let's say it nickname. The name is nickname, and the standard value is Code Explorer. Okay. So basically, if we see this, what would come out of the browser is just exactly what we expected. We still have the echo in here, so the echo does what's up. But we also have an input field right now that is standard, filled with the text Code Explorer. So to finish off our form, we're going to make a simple input field, but this time not a text input field. We're going to make it from type submit, just to be able to submit our form to the other PHP file named name.php file. Let's just say it nickname, because I believe it's a little bit confusing when every time I say name.php. So basically, normally now we should have, yes indeed, the submit. So when we click it now, we should automatically go to nickname. Okay, so that works. So what we did right now is we clicked our submit button, and that submit button makes a post request to our nickname.php file, but because we right now do not have a nickname.php file, it sends a post request to somewhere that doesn't exist. So the first thing we're going to do is make another PHP file. So to be clear, the things that I'm doing now is based on intuition. So I believe that this works this way, and that's not based on previous professional experience. So we're going to make it nickname dot .php. I believe it makes. Okay, that comes from itself. Okay, so we're going to search PHP. Oh, I believe it was already in here. Yes, using the post method. Yes, and here we did this one. Okay, echo. And apparently these are some global variables. So if we just do this, paste it in here, post and the name is nickname. We should, or I believe. So let's just just refresh to make sure. Hello. Submit. Hello. Okay. How is that? That's very, very good. So basically what we did right now is we made an HTML form. This HTML form made, if you click on the submit button, makes a post request to nickname.php, and it gives you the nickname.php file a value named nickname with the value that is in here. So at runtime we can still change this value, and default is it's set to Code Explorer. So we're going to use it. We're going to set the name to my name, Cedric. Hello, Cedric. I'm going to submit it, and once again it works. Okay. So what did we do? We made a very basic, simple application that takes one value, your name, and throws it to the next PHP file and just displays this name using the echo function. So yeah, our very first basic application is made. Now that we get the hang of it, why not just crack it up a notch? Let's just make a simple math. Something in math, with math. Okay. So what are we going to do? We want to get two text values, one for the first number, one for the second number, and then when we post these two text values in the second PHP file, he's going to add those two numbers with each other. I'm going to say like, okay, so your first number plus your second number is this third number. So that's what we're going to do in the beginning, and that's going to be it for the first for our first few lines of code in PHP. So we're going to make an entire new PHP file, and we're going to make it math.php. Okay. Okay, very good. The index, we're going to close the nickname for now. So in the index file, we're going to make the input a little bit different. The name is number one. Number one, value stand default. We do not have any value default. And I'm going to copy it, of course. And number two, simply number two. Perhaps we should make some labels also. Come on, man. Number one. Insert a small break. And number two. Okay. BR break. Also another break, yeah, for the submit button. Okay, so number two name, number one name, value is nothing. So we should be able to see, if we go back to the index page, what's up, number one, number two. Okay, so we're going to also change it to go to the math.php. Okay, and in math.php we're going to reuse this code from the I didn't meant to click on this one. Voila, we're going to use this small. So we're going to make a variable number one. Number one is post subject no post number one. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing but for number two. Number two. Number two. Okay. I hope this works. So we're making a variable number one and number two, and we're assigning the value. We're getting the value from the post that we get from this index.php, and we're assigning it to the right variable. So just to make sure that everything works, we're going to do echo Number one. Okay, so that's why I love beans. You know, NetBeans does a very good job in predicting what you might want to use, and I really love it. In the past, I've used a lot of NetBeans for different programming, for learning different programming languages in my education, and it was just it was very helpful. So number one plus number two. Oh, I'm going to have to use these. Plus number two is, and what are we going to do now? So basically, I'm just going to try something. Plus, and in brackets, number one plus number two. So let's see if this actually does work. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to reload it. What's up, number two? Number one is 5 and number 2 is 7. So that should make... No, I don't believe that that's the one. No, that's not cool. Oh, no. 7 should be giving me 12 though. And it makes 17. That's not right. So number 1 plus number 2. I made everything right in here. Yes. Number 1, number 2, value. Yes. Okay. Plus. 7. So these are the kind of problems we are looking for, right? Because if you're trying to do something, oh, I think I know. I already know what it is. I think it's something to do with the type. PHP add 2 numbers. Adding up in PHP. Okay. So first number is 10, second number is 20. Okay, sum total is 10. Okay. Oh, so you have to use the dot sign to add some text to it. I believe math.php. Plus is 0. Okay, that doesn't give much, but I believe that's because we need to repost it. So let's retry this one. Yes, there we go. 5 plus 7 is indeed 12. So basically what we've learned from this one is we don't need to use the plus. The programming languages that I write in, we need to use plus. For the record, I as a living, I'm a developer in C#. And in C# you need to do things like this, like string add on is like this how plus are plus you doing, and that's going to give how are you doing as a string. But apparently in PHP you need to use the dot to combine two variables as a string together. So basically, yeah, we actually got it, but I'm wondering if we cannot just put this one in here, if there's some kind of shortcut. So PHP print int in text and string, converting into string PHP. Oh, cool. Okay, inline variable parsing. Okay, that's cool. Sounds cool. So, in case you didn't see it, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this guy says that if you use these kind of brackets, so the curly brackets, I believe it's called, you can also just add your number inside it. So we're just going to try that, aren't we? So the curly brackets are like this. I believe I'm doing it right. Yeah. The curly brackets, but we are going to play safe and use some normal brackets just to make sure everything goes right. Okay, so that didn't quite work out. We're going to try to do it like this, but that already gives an error here. Unexpected plus. Oh yeah, I think it's supposed to be like this. No? No really? Unexpected dot comma also. Okay, I'm going to revisit that website. Inline parsing, I'd like 5 waffles. So that's the way we did it. Just that's the way it worked. Just using a simple dot. You can also just cast it to a string. But I want to use this one. I really want it. I want it. Okay. Let's just see. Someone sent me a message in here. Okay. Now we got it. Okay. What are we going to do? We already tried it, didn't we? I'm going to 0. I'm just going to look if this one works already. So okay. So let's re-begin the math. So number 1 is 4, number 2 is 5. Just that should come up with 9. Yeah, but we did we said 0. So basically we cannot do things like this in line. So we cannot do things like number 1 plus number 2. I believe we cannot. No, we cannot. So what do we need to do? So before we need to do the echo, we need to make a total, I believe, because it's because we add those two numbers up in line. We can print or make an output for inline for a certain variable, but we cannot add them up inline. So we're going to do it like this: number 1 plus number 2. Okay, dot comma total. Okay, let's see. Did we do it? Let's restart it. So 3 plus 4 should give us 7. And yes, indeed, it does. So that's a very good start for our first tryout. So basically what we managed to do is we managed to make a form where we asked the user to put 2 numbers in, or a name, and we posted those 2 numbers to the next page, and in that next page we used PHP to get those 2 numbers from the post and just add these numbers up with each other and just echo the total, adding them up. So, which is very nice, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned something from it. You also learned from my own mistakes that you also have to use the dot comma, that you want to use these annoying little things if you want to put 2 strings together. And what other lessons did we learn? Oh yes, and of course in PHP, if you make a variable, it's globally. So if you make it right here in these PHP tags, and you enter PHP tags, you write some HTML, and then you open the PHP tags once again, and you want to reuse those variables, you are perfectly able to do that. So yeah, those are the first 3 major things that we learned, and I hope you learned something from it. So I'm going to end the video here with another remark that this is not the normal type of videos you will find on YouTube. In the future, I will also try to go into the same direction for making these videos like today. We are going to learn things together. We are going to encounter problems that we have not seen in the past, or we have, and then I will of course explain everything to you. But yeah, that's the kind of approach that I want to do, and I hope you guys learned something from it. And I hope, of course, if you liked it, that you guys will subscribe to my channel if you really liked it. Like the video, of course. In the description, I will also put information about myself, about my Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, so you can keep updated when I'm going to stream once again. I believe that I might put up another stream tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, because I really, probably as you really want, as well as you want to learn PHP, I also want to learn more about PHP and how I can use it to make a full backend API, or to make a fully, let's say, a contact page or something. I really want to learn a lot about PHP, and this is the way I'm going to teach myself and you about how you do the things. So thanks again for watching, and I will leave everything in the description that you may want to know, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.